everybody, I'm Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower. Dice Tower West is a convention that we have each year. In the early year, this year it was March 2023, and we have a humongous library there, 6,000 plus games. And so this is just a video that we put out each year. We talk about the most checked out games from the library because I find that sort of thing interesting, and I thought you might too. I do want to point out that we had a hot games room there. So games that were in that hot games room are likely not going to be checked out of the library. For example, Earth. We had 3 copies of Earth. Very hot game, consistently checked out. Other games in hot games room, Millie Fury was in there, Endless Winter was in there, Mosaic was in there, and those games were just being played consistently. So I guess we could call this list almost the top 10 games that should have been in the Dice Tower library, but weren't. Now, of the library, over the course of the 4 days or 5 days that the library was open, there were 6,181 checkouts. Of those checkouts, that was 1,401 different games. These games were checked out for 10,853 hours. That's 452 days. There were 1,700 different people who checked games out. There was 175 games checked out more than 10 times, 426 games checked out more than 5, and 466 games were checked out only 1 time. But here we go, the top 10 games that were checked out of the Dice Tower West Library. Number 10, Lost Ruins of Arnak. So this game's it's not a brand new game, and it just consistently does well. Consistently being played from CGE 29 times. Actually, that's tied with the next one, also checked out 29 times. First Rat. Now this one might be a Dice Tower induced thing because everyone here at Dice Tower talked about how great this game was. But I'm really glad to see this one doing well. I know the name of it and the cover of it doesn't really appeal to people necessarily when they first see it, but once you play it, it's just a simple game of moving up a track with these rats wanting to become the first Ratronaut. Very fun game. All right, just one ahead of those at 30 checkouts, the very ever-popular first edition, Azul. So Azul just manages to stay strong, still getting checked out, still getting played. This is a game that we'll be still talking about in 10 years. Number 7, 32 times, one of the games that I like to play at Dice Tower's conventions if I have a chance, and that's Nidavellir. 32 times. This one, the fact that it can handle 5 players easily also helps out a lot. Number 6, this is one that we almost put in Hot Games Room, but we didn't, and that is Dune Imperium. 36 times, I'm not surprised about this one at all. The new expansions are out. People are very anxious and eager to play this game. It's a great convention game at the perfect length. Number 5, we had 1 copy of this in the Hot Games Room, and it was still checked out. Well, I guess these are all tied for number 4. This was checked out 36 times. But this, I guess, would edge it out because there was a copy in the Hot Games Room, and that's Ark Nova. Ark Nova, the hotness of 2 years ago, still doing very, very well. It's a very long game, and yet people are still eager to play. Think about how long that was checked out. How long each game takes, and was still checked out 36 times. Also tied for 36 is Acropolis. This is a game this is one where I'm not in touch with the people. I think Acropolis is fine. Obviously, I am in the minority there. A lot of people love this game, and I'm glad. I'm glad to see people enjoying games. It's a very simple game about building up kind of an area, putting out these tiles, scoring for groups of tiles. Very simple game, 36 times. Number 3, checked out 38 times, a little card game called Scout. Now this one, I should mention, Cat in a Box was probably played just as much as Scout. It's not on our list here, but Bezier Games had a booth there, and they were just constantly demoing Cat in a Box. So that's one of the things that probably kept Cat in a Box off our list. It was probably played as much as Scout. But from the library itself, a small card game. Small card games get checked out very infrequently from a library. So to be checked out 38 times, pretty impressive. This little get rid of all the cards in your hand game. Number 2, another very popular game, 42 times checked out, Cascadia. Cascadia just, again, is one of those games that everyone is just loving as you draft tiles and animals. And number 1 game was checked out 64 times, which is even more impressive considering it can only handle 2 players. I should have put this one in the hot games room, obviously, and that's Splendor Duel. Splendor Duel just has breathed new life into Splendor. It's the new Seven Wonders Duel. Remember how Seven Wonders Duel became more popular than Seven Wonders? Splendor Duel's doing the same thing. So those are the top 10 games checked out by numbers of checkouts. Some bonus stat time. Bonus stats, let's see, we got most hours checked out. The number one game that was checked out the most hours was Ark Nova. By the way, for purposes of these checkout times, we're excluding any games that were checked out. All checkouts, all my stats here, we're exclude anything checked out for less than 10 minutes, like someone checked it out, put it back in, and also check things out, anything that was checked out longer than 10 hours, which boo if you do that, but just that also means, likely that they just forgot to turn it back in. But anyhow, the most checked out game was Ark Nova, checked out 134 hours. Dune Imperium 101, Splendor Duel 88. Then Brass Birmingham was checked out for 77 hours and so on. The highest average checked out game that had to have at least 5 checkouts was Marrakesh. 4.7 hours per checkout. 7 times it was checked out. Dead Reckoning, 4.7 hours. That was checked out 9 times. Lizard Wizard, 4.6 hours. That's a weird one. That shouldn't take that long. 5 times checked out. Avenger Tactics, 4.6 hours. Australia, 4.2. Great Western Trail Argentina, an average of 4.1 hours. Then it was checked out 16 times. Maracaibo, 4.1 hours. Barrage, 4 hours. Tricarion Collector's Edition, 3.9. And My Father's Work, 3.9 hours, which I was checked out 9 times. So anyway, those are interesting stats. Like I said, a little bit skewed by the Hot Games Room, but also we have the Hot Games Room list. So I find this sort of thing interesting. We'll see where these games end up in a few years from now. If you came to Dice Tower West, I hope you had a great time. I hope I had a chance to say hi to you, although my voice was gone at the con. Happily, it's back now. These are the stats. I want to thank David Millett for putting these together. He puts the library together and runs the software system there. And for Tim, who does a fantastic job running Dice Tower West. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this is the most checked out games at Dice Tower West.